Hey there, it's Johanna, and let's talk a little bit about how to take care of ourselves both before and after doing something that maybe feels a bit courageous. So often when we're gearing up to do something that maybe feels a little scary or just big, we can focus a lot on how we're going to do that thing. And yeah, that's important. Definitely. But sometimes we kind of forget to pay attention to what we're doing to support ourselves both before and after. Beforehand, we might do some things to try and calm our nerves or strengthen our resolve so we'll follow through. And sometimes we do those things in helpful ways, and sometimes maybe not quite as helpful. Has it ever really worked to tell yourself to just stop being nervous? But the thing that I think we most often neglect is, taking care of ourselves after we do something that requires a bit of extra courage. Because, after it's done, right? It's over, so we should be fine. And, that's often not the case for me. And, we're all different, and there are so many different situations that require a bit of courage from us. So I won't be able to tell you, this is what you should do. These are the steps. These are the things. But I can share a little of my own experience to give you an example, and we can just talk about, okay, how do we figure this out? So really, the first thing to do is to listen. To listen to your body, to your mind, to your emotions, to just check in with yourself and see what's going on inside of you. For me, often, my mind is just spinning on all the things that could go wrong and all the ways I'm not good enough and all the ways I'm going to try and control everything. And often my body feels really tense and maybe agitated. And I tend to just kind of try not to feel any emotions, to shove them down and make them go away. And so that, that gives some good information that starts to give clues about, okay, what do I maybe need in this moment? So then we can consider, okay, I listened. This is what I noticed. What might I need based on that? So, for example, I know myself to sometimes shove down emotions only to have them explode out in not very helpful ways during intense moments. And if I'm gearing up to do something that feels kind of scary and like I need some courage to do it, I don't want that question of, I don't want to be taking all those suppressed emotions in there. So one of the things that is important for me to do is find a way to kind of bring those emotions out and process them and kind of clear out some of that packed down emotional energy. And I often do this with some intentional crying or screaming into a pillow. I have some videos on my practice for that if you're interested. And then, once I've cleared out some of those emotions and have just a little more space in there for what's going on, then I often need to just really slow things down and reconnect with my body. So I'll do things like taking deep breaths, some gentle stretching, maybe listening to a guided meditation, things like that to help me just kind of slow and ground and relax a little bit. And then after I do the courageous thing, it's usually a different story. I usually have all this like energy buzzing around my body, and there's no way I'm going to be able to like analyze how things went or really settle in to do much of anything until I burn off some of that energy. So usually for me, the first step is to get some exercise, lift weights, some cardio kickboxing, maybe go for a long walk, and just kind of work some of that like nervous energy out of my body. And then I can come back and maybe journal about how things went and how I felt about it, or maybe check in with a friend to like celebrate or share, I'm actually kind of disappointed at how things went. I often also need a snack because being courageous makes me really hungry. And yeah, what you need might be different. Maybe for you, before, you need like really upbeat music and a dance party. And maybe after, you need a bath and a nap. Great. Like, sometimes I need those types of things too. What in particular you need, that's up to you. Like, that's why we listen. And so I'd love for you to try this out with me. Let me know in the comments, what is something that maybe feels a little courageous that you want to try this week? And then listen and let me know, what are you going to do before? And then what do you do after to really take care of yourself and try and be there for yourself through the whole process of doing that courageous thing? All right, let me know in the comments. I'll be back with more soon. In the meantime, remember, you can trust yourself.